In this video, we will give non-example of the following rules of thumb in the construction of true or false test assigned by me and multiple choice tests assigned by Britannia. And the last part of our presentation is about a task assigned by Britannia. So let's go.
Give non-example of the following rules of thumb in the construction of a true or false test.
So first, we will give an example of rules of thumb in the construction of true or false question. So number one is avoid using hint in the body of the question. For example, 7 is an odd number. So obviously, the answer for this is true. Why? Because we all know that 7 is a whole number that cannot be divided exactly by pairs. So number 2 is avoid using words such as always, never, often, and other adverbs that tends to be always true or always false. So example, Filipinos always celebrate Christmas without Noche Buena. So if we analyze the statement, we all know that it is the traditional of the Filipinos that there is a Noche Buena in the table. So the answer for this is false. So number 3 is avoid long sentence which tend to be true. So keep sentence short. So for example, anatomy. Anatomy is a branch of biology that concerned with the body of the structure of organism and their parts. Anatomy is a branch of science which deals with the structure of organism, of living things. It is an old science having its beginning in prehistoric times. So as you observe, the statement is very long and it is easy for the student to guess the answer because the statement has so many details. So the student will know that the answer for this is true, even though the student doesn't study and doesn't know the answer. So number 4 is avoid systematic pattern for true and false statements. So for example, the father of modern philosophy is Rene Descartes. So if we observe the question, the name or the last name Descartes is misspelled. So the right spelling or the right pronunciation for it is Rene Descartes. So the student will easily get the answer. The student will easily notice the answer if you are trying to put a systematic pattern. So number 5 is avoid ambiguous sentence which can interpreted as true and at the same time false. So for example is, did you see the film last night? So this kind of question, it is very confused and the student can answer any kind of details about it because it is a very broad question. Let's say did you see the film last night, or what are you using by watching the film? Are you using television or in the internet or something like that? So avoid using ambiguous question because it is very confused. It can be either true or it can be either false. So that's all.
Give non-example of the following rules of thumb in the construction of a multiple choice test.
4. Adelaide is blank. A. North of Darwin. B. South of Darwin. C. East of Darwin. D. West of Darwin. Beater. The location of Adelaide compared to Darwin is A. North. B. South. C. East. D. West. Rule number 2. Avoid giving away the answer in the stem. So example, avoid grammatical clause that give away. The sea creature which has 8 legs is called an blank. A. Sea anemone. B. Mussel. C. Lobster. D. Octopus. So what do we call the sea creature that has 8 legs? A. Sea anemone. B. Mussel. C. Lobster. Or D. Octopus. Rule number 3. Choose distractors appropriately. Tips for incorrect answer options. True statements that do not answer the question often make good distractors. Keep the distractor sufficiently different to the K. Correct response in substance and not just flavor or subtitle wording. Statement based on common student errors and misconception often make strong distractors. Keep the distractor sufficiently different to the K. Response in substance and not just wording. Ensure that the alternatives are independent and mutually exclusive. Make each distractor grammatically similar to the correct response as well as consistent with the stem. Rule number 4, choose distractors so that they are all equally plausible and attractive. Make the distractors appealing and plausible. If the distractors are far-fetched, students will too easily locate the correct answer, even if they have little knowledge. So when testing for recognition of key terms and ideas, keep the distractors similar in length and type of language as the correct solution. When testing conceptual understanding, distractors should represent common mistakes made by students. So distractors should be plausible and sensible. Example: dichotic presentation of stimuli and shadowing are often used in the study of blank. A. Brightness, constancy. B. Sensory scaling. C. Shadow dancing. D. Cartons. And E. Selection. Rule number 5. Praise questions so that they will test order thinking skills. Example: Megan and Eric were in the market for a condo rental down by the waterfront. The rental came in at $2,075 per month plus utilities. It was a beautiful 9th-floor unit in a 2-year-old building with hardwood floors and floor-to-ceiling glass windows. Utilities would be equal to 15% in the rent cost and would include electricity, water, sewage, and natural gas. The air conditioner works off electricity, but the nice new stove is gas. If Megan brings home $2,000 net a month and Eric brings home $1,600 net, what would each be contributing to the rent cost and utilities if they were splitting the cost? A. $1,193.13. B. $1,203.55. C. $1,312.13. Or D. $1,332.15. And that's all. Thank you.
Matching type test questions measure the student's ability to connect words, complete sentences, or pair words with their definition. The matching test format consists of 2 columns, including one with a definition or phrase, and another with a word, number, or symbol. This is the example. Construct a 5-item matching type to test this competency. Identify the computer part system. So in column A, it consists of the definition, and in column B, it consists of the words or the answer to the column A. Another useful device for testing lower order thinking skills is the supply type of test. Like the multiple choice test, the items in this kind of test consist of a stamp and a blank where the students would write the correct answer. Example: construct a 5-item supply test to assist this competency. Identify farm tools according to use. Supply type tests depend heavily on the way that the stamps are constructed. It is, however, possible to construct supply type of tests that will test higher order thinking, as the following example shows. For example, write an appropriate synonym for each of the following. Each blank corresponds to a letter. Beautiful, attractive. The appropriate synonym for the first is lovely. The appropriate synonym for the second is gorgeous. Notice that these questions require not only more recall of words, but also understanding of these words. Matching may be considered to be a variant of multiple choice in which more than one choice is correct. Matching type test evaluates the learner's ability to understand the similarities between items, while multiple choice type of test usually consists of a question or a statement to which respond by selecting the best answer from among a number of choices, but they are both type of tests in which more than one choice is correct. Problem solving and critical thinking refers to the ability to use knowledge, facts, and data to effectively solve problems. This doesn't mean you need to have an immediate answer. It means you have to be able to think on your feet, assess problems, and find solutions. The ability to develop a well-thought-out solution within a reasonable time frame, however, is a skill that teachers value big.
And this is the construct a line paper and pencil test observing guidelines in the test construction.